Ladies and gentlemen, so earlier last week we did a feature video on 5-star Massacre in Variant. However, today, after getting super lucky this month and Awakening Winter Soldier, which initially I was a little bit salty about, but after recording all this gameplay, man, I'm actually pretty happy with Awakening Winter Soldier, because his Awakened ability, I've just found so much really good value for it in Variant, and you are going to see some absolutely crazy stuff today. Now, if you're unaware, one of the things that makes Winter Soldier so good at the moment, and pretty much the main thing, is having the 5-star Killmonger synergy, and especially when it comes to Variant and you're only restricted to skill a mutant in the first one, there's a very limited amount you can do with other champions and synergies. You can't bring in like Blades, Ghost Rider for the villain's danger sense. So actually, Winter Soldier with this synergy, which essentially makes him a better version of Star-Lord when he is awakened, because the power drain is much stronger, and you know, in Variant the health pools aren't that big that you need the 100+ combo ramp up. Winter Soldier is pretty much just better Star-Lord. I also wanted to start off this video by showing the Iron Man Infinity War matchup, because he's one of the most tricky enemies to do in Variant, because he's immune to bleed, he's immune to poison, and also any modifications to his ability accuracy. So finding champions that can get this dude down in a single try are a little bit rare for a lot of people and a lot of rosters at the moment, but here we're trying to save up to the special 3 so we can use that kind of under 15% and get him down. However, I do make a bit of a mistake here. We take the block damage, we bait out the special 1, and then we use the special 3. However, you're going to see this pretty much deals no damage, and that's because if you don't already trigger the armor, it'll trigger just before the special 3 damage, so the actual damage from that special 3 is pretty much nothing, but because we have the second ammunition loaded, which is the Incinerate, that applies, deals mega damage, and burns the rest of him down. So yeah, really good champion for a one-shot there, will work as a 5-star as well. So just as a bit of a disclaimer for this video, we're running the Killmonger synergy, the Wolverine, the Magneto synergy, and then we're swapping out between Storm for a little bit more crit and a little bit more crit damage, and Taskmaster for certain paths when we need the additional chance to proc the power drain, because basically the way that Winter Soldier's Awakened ability works is it gives his critical hits a 15% chance to power drain. But if you have Taskmaster in your team as well, this is going to increase the chance by an additional 5%, so it brings it up to a 20% chance to power drain whenever you crit on the opponent, and this can have some major combos, especially with the special 2 having so many hits there as well, but also kind of the main thing for damage. One of the reasons Winter Soldier is such a good champion now, even unawakened, is with a Killmonger synergy. If you've got, again, a 5 or 6-star version of this character, then for every single hit you get on the combo meter, it's going to be plus 5% attack. So when you're at 100 hits, it's going to be plus 500% attack. Other ways to think about it are like 50% attack per 10 hits, or 100% more attack for every 20 hits that you get on the combo meter. But you know, it's fairly straightforward. The more hits you get, the more damage, very kind of Star-Lord-esque there. But again, as I mentioned earlier, with a power drain being a lot more frequent than Star-Lord's, this can be really useful for some of the most annoying matchups to deal with. But next up, we've got Wasp. So Wasp is a fairly straightforward one to really get down with any character, very similar to Taskmaster as well. But Winter Soldier works so well in both these matchups just because he's delivering so much damage. But here we're just doing parry 3 hits, and that's kind of the best way to fight Wasp for the most part, aside from kind of baiting out heavy attacks and baiting out special 1s if you do not have the luxury of being able to stun her there. We got the special 1, so we can chuck in at 5 hits there, and we're saving up for the special 3 here. I always find it best in Wasp matchups to save up for the SP3 just to allow yourself kind of that backup failure, just in case you do die, and make sure that she doesn't quantum evade any of the special attacks there. So I think to be safe, we're going in for one more combo here, one more parry. Then we finish off the match with a special 3. Again, absolute easy work, so much damage. Taskmaster, Wasp just absolutely shredded there, lads. Such a beautiful kill. Now, the next fights you're going to see are some of the most jammy fights that have ever been recorded in Marvel Contest of Champions history. This is in the first chapter. There's a double power gain, kinetic reactor, Hyperion and Mordo, and these fights are absolute ass. I think generally speaking, Hawkeye and Gwenpool, really good solutions for these two, but I just wanted to see if we could do it. I thought I'd test it out. I was playing so much Variant last night just for a little bit of fun, and this is just a bit of a crazy fight. You can see there we get double power drain. That was so good. We've got 4 power drains now, really keeping his power low, so we can control that fight. We get another power drain there, so that's 5 that we've got in 20 hits. This is why we have the taskmaster synergy as well. So you can see already, you know, we've drained like 5 bars of power. It's been really good. Fire off a special one. I'm hoping for a power drain to bring me back, but unfortunately we did not quite get one. Go for the dash back intercept, but here we have to tank a special 3 and try and rein this one back. I'm looking at my health, and I know Hyperion, if you're over 70%, generally you're alive, and we are just about alive there. So incredibly close, but you can see like how crazy this fight is to deal with, man, with Hyperion's power gain. So yeah, definitely Hawkeye and Gwenpool are some great solutions for this one, because he's such a big pain in the ass for a lot of people to deal with. We fire off the special one a little bit earlier there just to allow room for another parry and another combo in hopes of getting a power drain. We parry again. He's at full power and hoping to down him. The last one gets a power drain. We parry and we win the game. We got very lucky that we didn't get special 3 there, but on the final medium, man, that power drain came through like crazy. And if you are absolutely disgusted by how lucky we got there, it's only just beginning, lads, because this Mordo matchup is 10 times worse. It is 10 times the amount of disgust, and I will say Winter Soldier, as I've said earlier, is not the most reliable for this at all. We got insanely lucky, but it still worked, man. It still worked. It still turned out okay for this matchup. So here we're against Mordo. So going in, standard 5 combo, trying to get lucky and get some power drains here. Unfortunately, we didn't get any procs. He's got 2 bars of power. Up against the wall, we go to throw a heavy attack. We get a power drain off the heavy attack crit there, so that was absolutely fantastic. For a 5 combo, special 1. He's now against the wall with a power gain, so we throw a heavy attack, hoping for another power drain. However, that fails. Although we did go for a dash back intercept, and we baited him into it. We got a power drain. So it worked out in the end, man. It worked out. Dodge a special 1 there. I think I'm going to throw off another special 1 to kind of retaliate there. We get a power drain, another power drain as well from that special attack. Nice little intercept. Finished that one off, but it was, you know, a little bit too lucky, man. There was definitely a couple of intervals there where we could have died. But Winter Soldier's power drain, man, it definitely saved my ass. Now, the next matchup, I thought I'd do just for a little bit of fun to see how or if Winter Soldier could manage this matchup, and this is the double power gain Magik, who is just absolute cancer to fight. She's so horrible, but ideally if you do have a very stacked version of Blade or Archangel, these are some really good solutions to this Magik. However, Winter Soldier is maybe not the best, so we're trying to stun her whenever we kind of push her over a threshold, and I'm hoping for some sort of like insane crit spree that keeps her like power locked at 0 power. Maybe that's a bit too optimistic there, but we're just going in, getting some power drains. It's actually going okay so far. We got 2, it's helping to manage a bit, but that first limbo procs, and we didn't seem to take any damage there. I kind of think that one failed, maybe due to ability accuracy reduction, so we're doing alright, but we do need to bait out special 2. I want to get her stunned again so I can kind of push her over 1 bar of power, and it's going alright. We haven't got too much limbo so far. We get a limbo proc there. It's maybe a little bit unsafe to push her to the special 2 at that point. We now got a stun going back in, another stun. We got 1 bar of power. Unfortunately, she did get the limbo proc there. We're pushing her to a special 2 now. Got the limbo proc there as well. Got a power drain. We almost get her down, but then she heals back up. And that was really annoying, man. I thought the matchup was going to be over at that point, but we managed to just about get her down. So yeah, if you play a little bit safer than me, that one's possible, but you probably just want to bring a Blade or Archangel in there. Next up, we have the buffet path, which which has some slightly annoying fights. X-23 up first. X-23 isn't really too much to deal with, so this is kind of a good little warm-up, good showcase of Winter Soldier's damage, but also the power drain, because X-23's healing, even though it's not as much as Wolverine's, is also based on her power as well. You know, the power drain can be tremendously useful for keeping that healing down, even though, you know, it just isn't the most, like, crazy heal in the world. It's just kind of like a nice little damage bonus that does all add up there. So we've got the power drain there, pretty much keeping her at 0 power, and it's very, very nice when you can just bounce back on those parries constantly, nuke in, without even being at 50 hits. You know, we're well outpacing Buffet, and this fight is pretty much over as well. Some very, very nice crits toward the end, so yeah, just absolutely tore through that fight, even with the class disadvantage there. So just a tremendous performance from Winter Soldier. Now, next up, I wanted to push Winter Soldier even further and take down 2 fights which are notoriously horrible. We got the Buffet Mephisto and also the Buffet King Groot as well, which, you know, when you're dealing with pools of like over 100,000 health, is quite a bit of regeneration there, especially when you've got all this fun incinerate damage as well. So I'm just trying to, you know, play a little bit safe here, bait out special ones whenever he has the Aura of Incineration, but I'm not kind of too scared of taking too much damage, and it's one of those things in most Mephisto matchups that you kind of make peace with the fact that, you know, Aura of Incineration is super, super fun and interactive, and you're gonna have to take a little bit of damage. But again, if you are looking to do this and you do have a Blade is a great option for Mephisto. Much like Magik, he's a dimensional being, so you don't need to rely on the Ghost Rider synergy for this one. So he's the best option, but we managed to keep a fairly cool lid on this fight for the most part, and also the added benefit of the special too, as you can see there, is it really chucks Mephisto back, so it's very nice when you throw it off that you kind of push him out of range of the Aura of Incineration, so you're not taking damage while kind of firing off that machine gun, which is a very, very nice bonus there. Really do like some of the animation interactions, and you can see we are dipping below 50% now. We haven't taken too much damage so far, but you can see every single tick per stack of Aura Incineration is like, you know, very, very close to 890 damage there. So 2 ticks, we're taking about 1,700 damage, like twice a second, man. It's just absolutely nasty, so you need to stay well away from Mephisto. At this point, we've got 52 hits on the combo meter, so over 250% additional attack, so some really, really nice damage. However, we're waiting out kind of the regeneration and also immunity there. We throw off the special 2, get plenty of distance, put him up against the wall, he gets tons of stacks, and then we just need to kind of dash back. But we did take, you know, 1 tick there, but it wasn't a bad Mephisto kill, man. He did a pretty good job of getting through that fight, so, you know, if you haven't got Blade, Winter Soldier, he might be an option there. But also, one of the toughest fights for a lot of champions and people to get round is also this Buffet King Groot, because he's got very close to 150,000, so his Buffet heal is quite significant, combined with his regeneration as well. But Winter Soldier absolutely makes light work of this lad, so if you are having problems, and I know kind of a few people have got stuck on this King Groot and not found a solution to deal with him, Winter Soldier is a really, really good option for getting through this. You might be having a bit of a look at this King Groot thinking, oh, I can just bring my Blade with the villain synergy, but you've got to remember, it's Variant and you don't have the villain synergy. So I think there are a few other mutants that might be able to damage King Groot, maybe Sabretooth when ramped up, Domino if you're a little bit lucky as well, and maybe Massacre as well in terms of the skill class. But if you manage to get through this King Groot, let me know who you used. To be honest, I imagine like Aegon would be fairly decent for this fight, just because, you know, you could keep attacking into him until eventually you got like enough ramp up with your damage and crits that you could out damage his Buffet as well. But yeah, if you've made it this far, let me know if you've already done Variant, who you used for King Groot, Iron Man, and maybe Sentinel as well, and who were some of the most problematic fights in Variant Chapter 1 for you, because I'm interested to get a bit of perspective on that. But you can see we absolutely melted that King Groot there, man. That was absolute denial. And I think if you did like have a 4-star version of this character or a 5-star rank 3, as a standard disclaimer, we are not using any boost in today's video, so if you had like a 20% 20% attack boost on, attack and health on, and a 10% attack. You kind of be seeing these numbers as well from a maxed out 4-star. So, you know, if you do have like a 5 or 6-star Killmonger, which you do really need for the synergy, man, because the 4-star Killmonger synergy kind of sucks. But if you had like a 6-star or 5-star rank 4, you could probably get away with the 4-star Killmonger synergy for getting through a lot of these fights as well. But the 5-star one is just so incredibly nice. And now a bit of a beatdown boss fight. We've got one of the Ultron Drone mini-bosses, and I believe this is the second one. So this is the one that essentially is Electro, has about 250,000 health, just a little bit over that. This lad also has immunity to ability accuracy reduction. Not that that really matters too much for this fight, but also we do have the class disadvantage in this matchup, so it's important to maybe keep in mind that we are having a lot less attack than we usually would, just because of that, you know, skill fighting mutant penalty there. And this guy also has Pilfer, so you're going to see sometimes our buffs are instantly consumed to feed him 20% power, and that is a bit of an annoying node, but it's kind of countered a little bit with Awakened Winter Soldier, because you have the power drain that you can kind of run alongside it as well, which can be very nice there. So we're dashing back, we go in for a 5 combo, get off a special 2, that was a 6k non-crit, pretty much no crits on that special 2, but now we're at 100 hits, man. We got 500% more attack. Like, the damage is really raining in. So you can just see how this lad, you know, he ramps up so incredibly fast, but we have been quite unlucky with the crits toward the end of this. And there we go, the Ultron Drone is down. Very light work of the second boss there, but the second boss, you know, he's fairly straightforward to deal with. There isn't too much. It just kind of provided, you know, a good opportunity to open up Winter Soldier a little bit more. But this is actually one of my favorite kills. It's against the Masochism Carnage. Masochism is a little bit annoying, but it's kind of a good test of damage output, especially in the final quest of the first chapter of Variant. And Winter Soldier just absolutely dominated this one, man. I was so happy with this kill. I think it's probably the fastest kill that I've ever had on Carnage, because one of the themes of, you know, Winter Soldier Star-Lord style matchups is you're not going to see anything too impressive, maybe for the first, like, you know, 20-30 hits, but then the damage just comes, boys. Look at that special 2. We shredded his health there, get a nice little cheeky backdraft intercept, go for another backdraft, and this lad is in the bin. He is down, he's gone. Absolutely beautiful kill there. Now, next up, I wanted to show one more Iron Man Infinity War fight, because if you've done Variant or looked at the map, you'll see there's, you know, one path with 2 Infinity War Iron Men, and I played this one slightly differently, and I think it's kind of worthwhile showing how we handled the 15% phase on this one. So we healed Winter Soldier up a little bit, because you always want to make sure, you know, if you've got a 6-star rank 1 or a 5-star one, that you've got them ideally about 50%, you know, could be a little bit less if you have boost active. But this one, we did make the error in the first matchup of using the special 3 before his 15% armor, the 8 stacks of it are procced, and as a result of that, he took pretty much no damage. So here, we're trying to kind of play around that mechanic, and you'll see as we get later into the fight. But also, when it comes to fighting Iron Man Infinity War, man, they're good fun, you know. I really enjoy fighting a good Iron Man Infinity War now, and also the power drain, we got some good use out of it already. It's already kind of depleted one of his bars, but also especially if you bring in the Taskmaster synergy as well, which we didn't have for either one of these kills, you're going to see a fair amount of value out of it, because one of the most annoying things about fighting Iron Man Infinity War is all of these goddamn specials that you have to evade, which are a little bit of a pain in the ass. However, we do make a bit of a mistake there. We blocked that one instead of evading it, going for the parries to try and get him to trigger his heavy attack there, so we can go straight in after that. And now it's kind of a case of ramping up to the special 3 so that we can fire off a special 3 after we've depleted his stacks of armor with Incinerate to make sure we get some crazy heavy damage and can finish this fight very nicely. You can see we're getting close to like 7k mediums now, man. The attack is just going up and up and up, but I'm trying to take him down, you know, fairly carefully here. I really do want to trigger the final phase armor, so we dodge that special 1 there. And we're going in now. We are about to dodge a heavy attack, retaliate on a medium there. We trigger the 8 stacks of armor up. Now at this point it is a waiting game. We want to wait out those 8 stacks of armor up and then retaliate with a special 3, but he decides to use special 1s back to back there, and you can see instead of in the previous kill it was 2% damage, this one easily just nukes him down with like damage damage to spare. So something very important to keep in mind if you want to play around Iron Man Infinity War and make that last bit a little bit easier is you probably want to trigger the armor before using your special 3, because, you know, you can see comparatively speaking, like how much his health gets rinsed when he doesn't have those 8 stacks of armor, because he is, you know, just pretty much immortal when he has those 8 stacks of armor and takes close to no damage. And next up, we've got Hyperion on the debuff immune node here. Again, like Gwenpool and also Hawkeye are great counters for kind of the first chapter Hyperions and can be very, very useful. But also, as you're going to see, man, Winter Soldier, not too bad in this matchup. And this one, arguably, is a little bit less of a pain in the ass, just because this one doesn't have double power gain. He's immune to debuffs, and that is, you know, very annoying when the fight starts to kind of get into the rhythm of the fight. But, you know, it's not the worst thing in the world to deal with. We get a very, very nice power drain in there, completely reset him to 0. We fire off a special 2 there, get a ton of damage. Unfortunately, no bleed kind of associated with the special 2 there, because that does not have a 100% chance to proc. And now we're just going in, trying to get this mad lad down as quickly as we can, trying to bait out specials, leave ourselves as open as we possibly can, while trying to make maybe our way toward another special 2. And then we dodge the special 2 of him. We get a very nice power drain there, double power drain, completely seal him out of the match. And there we go, Hyperion is down. So yeah, really, really great for that matchup. But another matchup he's really, really good for, which I did not play the best on this one, is the Cornered War Machine. So this War Machine, and any War Machine in general, you know, the less special attacks, the better. So I was hoping for, you know, some crazy power drain RNG just to keep him at like 0 power all of the time. Didn't quite get that, but, you know, it turned out to be like an okay matchup. I believe we do like make a bit of a mistake at some point during this one and take like a direct hit. I think it was like getting clipped on a heavy attack or something like that, but so far we're playing quite well. We're getting some nice retaliations. We chuck off a special 2 here. Really hoping to get a super good power drain, get him just below 1 bar of power, which is fantastic. Now the debuff immunity is gone, so we can parry. We go for another 5 combo, hit into his block a couple of times, dash back, get another parry, power drain, below 1 bar of power there. However, we did slip up and get clipped by a heavy attack, so that was a little bit annoying. But so far, you know, we've got 2 power drains, so we've managed to mitigate the amount of damage taken from his super fun special attacks by a reasonable amount so far, so not doing too bad. However, we have lost our combo, we've lost the damage, which is not the best time in the world. That special 2 is an absolute blessing, tons of power drain associated with that, locked him out of the match, dead. So yeah, not a bad matchup at all, could have definitely played a little bit better. And now we're going to move on to the last 2 matchups. So we've got Sabretooth, who's kind of the mini boss and also on a masochism node in the final chapter, and we're kind of having a look at the one just before the final boss of the first chapter of Variant here. And Sabretooth, you know, if you're not familiar with the mechanic, for all the damage he's taken, he's going to regenerate 70% of it over 25 seconds. So having a character like Winter Soldier that is constantly ramping up his damage is really good for dealing with these Sabretooths. Just an absolutely incredible matchup there. And also the less special ones he fires off and the more lucky you get with the power drains, then the less fury he has and the less block and parry damage you're taking. So that can also be quite beneficial as well. Like Domino also works really well for these Sabretooths, as well as Archangel. Archangel's an absolute monster. But as you can see here, Winter Soldier, really great option. Massive outpace on the regeneration, because again, our damage is just going up and up and up, so the regeneration from the lower damage taken can't really compete with it, and Winter Soldier is just kind of in a state where he's tearing through the Sabretooth, and a special 2 I believe is going to shut this boy down in a moment's notice. Very close, and there we go, the dots tick him over, Sabretooth falls. And then we're going to try something which I did quite a bit when I did this live, and it was so fun. Back when I was doing this live, I always managed to get a solo using this tactic on Domino and Winter Soldier, and it's my favorite way to play this final boss. So this final Ultron has caltrops, so if you dash back, you are going to take like an insane amount of bleed damage. So, you know, a safer player would probably go for like an Iceman, maybe an Emma Frost, a Mega Red, absolute unit for dealing with this lad. But if you're an absolute balls to the walls player and your parries are on point, then you want to try never dashing back at all. And I do alright in this one. It's not the perfect one, but if you know, heal up your Winter Soldier a little bit, it's entirely possible to get a one-shot on this final Ultron Drone Boss, because he does play very, very aggressively as well. He does have the aggressive node, so he's very likely to kind of come into you, which makes him very, very easy and predictable to parry for the most part. So yeah, we're not dash backing at all. We're just getting in those parries, smashing in, hoping that power drain as well gets him to 0 power, so that we don't need to worry about the specials. That's kind of another potential benefit that we could have here for Winter Soldier. But in this run as well, we don't have the Taskmaster synergy, so we did, you know, ruin our chances of getting some crazy power drain combos and loops by not having that one active. But you can see here, man, this Ultron drone has a tremendous amount of health. We slipped up, we died there. The Caltrops is absolutely mega. Just made a bit of a mistake. But just in that one try for the final boss, who has 250k, that one like 40% revive try, we got over 150,000 health down. So yeah, it was a great effort, man. Really, really good stuff. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Winter Soldier is awesome. He is a variant god. Smash that like button, take care, and have an absolutely fantastic day.